Library of Heaven's Path. Let's begin. Chapter 371 to 380. Zhang Zan shook his head and said, "That's not it. I just want to say that judging only by their side of the story might be a bit childish." "Fine, I can ask others." Household's Commander Shen looked around. "Did any of you see what actually happened?" "We didn't see anything. We don't know." The people around all waved their hands, not wanting to invite trouble upon themselves. Do you have anything else to say?" Household's Commander Shen snorted coldly. Zhang Zan did not expect that trying to be the good person would land him in such big trouble. He frowned and said, "What do you intend to do?" "At the Wanxiang sect's teleportation formations, brawling is prohibited. You ignored the rules and intentionally hurt someone. We will now take you back for interrogation. Once the facts are confirmed, we will direct destroy your cultivation." Household's Commander Shen declared. "Lord Shen, he not only assaulted someone intentionally, but he also stole a lot of money from me. If you don't believe it, you can search his storage rings." The middle-aged man hastily added. "A thief. Hand over your storage ring for me to inspect." Household's Commander Shen extended his palm. "Just on the basis of a random accusation, you want to conduct a search? By that logic, if I were to say you're a thief, should you also produce your storage rings for me to inspect?" Zhang Zan retorted with angry laughter. "How dare you? Theft and arbitrary physical assault, and now, you even dare to slander me. You've got quite the audacity. Bring him to the underground prison for a thorough investigation." "Yes." Following his command, several guards clad in metal armor promptly stepped forward and surrounded Zhang Zan. "It seems you are all in league, and all this is just an excuse." Seeing that the other party completely ignored his explanation and brazenly added crimes to his name, Zhang Zan understood what was happening. Even if they were not in cahoots, there must be some underhanded dealings at play. They would target those who had money but no power to defend themselves, take the opportunity to strike, and sully them with a crime. As long as there was no resistance, they would extort mercilessly until they had squeezed out a fortune. Such a cunning plan. The cost of long-distance teleportation was exorbitant, so generally, only those who can afford a one-way trip, carrying all the resources and wealth of their families, would choose it. Most crucially, they are strangers in a strange land, merely wishing to depart without causing trouble. This made them easy targets for these people to join forces against and extract a significant sum of wealth from. It looks like this was not the first time for the other party. Even, that pair of grandfather and grandson might be part of the scheme, deliberately baiting hot-blooded individuals to take action, NOBs. "You brat, daring to lay hands on guards, your crime is elevated by 1 grade. You won't die but you will be skinned. If you don't resist, just wait to be captured." Seeing the numerous guards surrounding Zhang Zan, the middle-aged man's eyes flashed with a playful smile. Just as Zhang Zan guessed, this middle-aged man had done this many times before, each time profiting quite a bit. Without a hitch, this youngster would also be unlucky. The many guards drew their long sabers and thrust them forward. Raising his eyebrows, Zhang Zan was about to retaliate when a thought occurred to him. Try merging the gases from before. Woo! With a flick of his finger, the merged strength of Yuking Destiny and Fox Charm Destiny transformed into thin, invisible lines that extended into the distance. In the blink of an eye, he landed on a middle-aged man who was smugly proud. The latter suddenly froze, then frantically dashed forward, his palm stretched out, and swung a slap towards Household's Commander Shen, who was watching the commotion from not too far away. Household's Commander Shen did not expect him to take action, and before he could react, he was struck in the face. Bang! The force of a Galaxy 6 Dan Peak expert was like a tsunami. The guard in golden armor felt a momentary halt in his breathing and was sent flying backward, crashing to the ground and coughing up mouthfuls of fresh blood. "You!" Household's Commander Shen struggled to get up, about to ask what was wrong with the man, when he saw that he had already rushed into the group of armored guards, slapping each one with his palm. In just 2 breaths, all the people surrounding Zhang Zan were lying on the ground, incapacitated. "Yao Chunwen, you dare to lay hands on us, what audacity!" Household's Commander Shen's face turned red with anger. Paying no heed to reprimanding Zhang Zan, he drew his short saber, waved his hand, and slashed at the middle-aged man called Yao Chunwen. Although he was also strong, he was only at the Galaxy 4 Dan level, And how could he be the opponent of someone at 6 Dan? Yao Chunwen flicked his finger and deflected the incoming long saber, immediately throwing a punch in return. Household's Commander Shen was sent flying more than 10 meters, kneeling on the ground, vomiting blood profusely, unable to even speak. What happened? I have no idea. Inside the room, no one expected such a turn of events. They all exchanged glances, with puzzled faces. Even Empyrean Kong Shi frowned without understanding. Only Zhang Zan's eyes grew brighter. He hadn't expected this blended breath to be so powerful. It was I who intentionally framed this friend. He is innocent. I am now willing to offer all my resources as an apology. Yao Chunwen stopped, removed a storage ring from his hand, and passed it to Zhang Zan. Zhang Zan took the ring, his palm gently caressed it, and the Heaven's Path Junchi immediately surged in, quickly erasing the soul imprint, and then imprinted his own will onto it before peering inside. The space inside the ring wasn't large, but in a corner, there was a large pile of destiny plates, densely packed, amounting to 7 or 8,000. Since you are so sincere in your apology, I'll accept it. Too lazy to speak further, Zhang Zan stored the ring in the suspended realm. After doing this, he looked at Household's Commander Shen not too far away. Lord, as you saw, he has admitted to doing the wrong thing, and I did not initiate any action. Does this mean there's no issue now? There's no issue. Household's Commander Shen, clutching his injured chest, struggled to get up, narrowing his eyes hatefully at Yao Chunwen. Someone fetch Yao Chunwen. He attacked the guards and caused a ruckus in the Wanxiang sect. Arrest him. Yes. Outside the door, another group of armored guards immediately rushed in, cautiously surrounding Yao Chunwen. It was assumed he would fight back furiously again, but unexpectedly, whether out of fear or having depleted his strength, Yao Chunwen, the same man who had just sent Household's Commander Shen flying with a punch, his legs suddenly gave way and he collapsed heavily to the ground, blacking out. Take him away. Household's Commander Shen didn't care whether it was an act or not, stomped on him several times, breaking his chest, leg, and arm bones, ensuring no further resistance, then called out. The guards immediately lifted the man and took him away. Household's Commander Shen gave Zhang Zan a cold glance, wanting to erupt but having no reason to do so, he strode out. With a flick of his wrist, the room quieted down once more. Just as Zhang Zan was about to return to his seat, the grandfather and grandson from before rushed over anxiously. Sir, the person just now, Yao Chunwen took away 2,000 of our destiny plates, and he has given you his storage ring. Could you please take them out and return them to us? The elder looked over anxiously. That is our life-saving money. With your profound understanding of justice and your compassionate heart, surely you wouldn't take them away, leaving us, an old man and his grandson, to be homeless and starve to death on the streets. What if I say no? Zhang Zan looked over. When it was time for them to testify, they were cowardly as mice, falsely accusing their benefactor, and now they shamelessly came running for money. Truly, those pitiable often have a detestable side. Not repay. You're pushing the two of us, grandfather and grandson, to our deaths. The old man suddenly fell to the ground, weeping and wailing. Everyone, come and judge for yourselves. This is the money that could save our lives. To take it and not return it, is to murder, to kill us. The child also looked over with a wronged expression. Big brother, we really need the money. Ignoring their grievances, Zhang Zan said indifferently, firstly, the money wasn't taken by me, it was taken by that Yao Chunwen. If you want it back, go ask him. Secondly, I just took action to help you, shouldn't you repay me? Repay? What do you mean? You take our money, and not only do you not think about returning it, you want us to pay you, is that right? The old man struggled on the ground, crying out as if throwing a tantrum. Everyone look, this guy has no compassion, took our money, not only not returning it but also wants us to repay him. Is there no sense of justice? His shout caught the attention of everyone around, who immediately looked over in unison, their gazes filled with sympathy for Zhang Zan. The most troublesome thing isn't being targeted by bad people, but by good people. With bad people, you can use a variety of thunderous methods, but good people can bind you with all sorts of morals, leaving you unable to even express anger. No roaring allowed here. Just then, a faint voice sounded, and the old man who was crying and shouting suddenly closed his mouth, his voice as if muted, unable to utter another word. Woo woo woo. His eyes filled with panic, the old man looked around, his gaze involuntarily settling on the direction from which the voice emanated. Zhang Zan glanced over as well. Empyrean Kongxi sat in his seat, quietly drinking tea, his face showing a serene smile. "Brother Zhang, come have some tea." Zhang Zan nodded, approached, and curiously looked over. "Just now, did you?" With just a casual remark, the other party shut his mouth. Could it be that Empyrean Kongxi has reached the level where his saying follows law? In my own new world, this can be done easily, but this is the source world. Even if I inherited a second-level heavenly destiny, I haven't completely forged it. And Beta E section. This is the application of the heavenly destiny of ceremony. Put simply, it's like forming a domain similar to the heaven mandate domain around the body. If your cultivation isn't sufficient, you will be subjected to rule punishment, and even if your cultivation far exceeds mine, it can still impose certain constraints. Empyrean Kongxi transmitted his voice. Can it be used like this? Zhang Zan was amazed. He had always assumed that the so-called heavenly destinies were similar to the previous paths, such as Mo Dao destiny, which was even stronger on the path of Mo Dao, and flowing light heavenly destiny meant faster speed. But now it seemed that was not the case. This ability is something only reached at the fourth level of heavenly destiny, initially forming a type of force field, then a realm, and finally what's called the Nine God Monarchs. No matter which, as long as one is within its range, the holder of heavenly destiny can form rules by intent, forcing others to obey. Empyrean Kongxi explained, it's like the rules in Zealand Valley, those were set by Elder Bai Yi using the heavenly destiny of ceremony, with violators facing death. After hearing the explanation, Zhang Zan understood. The heavenly destinies of the first three levels indeed resembled ordinary talents and didn't seem to have much advantage. However, once reaching the fourth level and able to form a force field, it changed everything. Just like Mo Bei's teacher and the elder of the Fu family, they both comprehended the fourth level heavenly destinies and thus formed their impotent versions of the heaven mandate domain, setting certain rules that those who enter must follow. Could it be the fusion of Yuking destiny and Fox charm destiny? The power that changed Yao Chunwen's attitude is the initial version of the Nine God Monarchs, the force field. The heaven mandate domain is divided into three stages: force field, realm, and Nine God Monarchs. Reaching the fourth level of heavenly destiny allows one to comprehend the force field, and within its range, enact rules that suit oneself. Empyrean Kongxi inherited the heavenly destiny of ceremony. Ceremony itself has many restrictions. Just now, the old man rolled and thrashed publicly, clearly violating etiquette, thus he was restricted by the rule. A word fell, and not only silencing him but even if it were to annihilate him on the spot, it would be extremely easy. Both Yuking destiny and Fox charm destiny are related to soul energy. Fused together, the fine threads formed easily influenced Yao Chunwen, causing a significant change in his attitude, acting according to his own thoughts. Viewed this way, this also counts as a kind of force field. It's not saying follows law, but a binding force formed under the rules of heavenly destiny. Like when I said no roaring allowed here, he would immediately shut his mouth. But if I said no eating, sleeping, or whispering was allowed, the power would be much less, maybe not even forming a constraint, continued Empyrean Kongxi. Zhang Zan nodded. With the heavenly destiny of ceremony, whether forming the Nine God Monarchs or a force field, when setting rules within the etiquette field, the effects are much greater, and outside of this scope, it's almost useless. Have my insights into the giant wave formation reached the peak of 5th level, and Mo Dao reached the 4th realm peak, can I also form a force field? A thought emerged. The giant wave formation is a branch of the strength, heavenly destiny, at its prime reaching grade 5, capable of releasing a powerful aura of oppression. What kind of rules would this force field form? While he pondered, the child nearby noticed something was wrong with his grandfather and hurried over with urgency. "Grandpa, what's wrong with you?" Cough cough. The old man opened his mouth a few times, found he could speak normally, and then he took a breath of relief, his gaze filled with hatred towards Zhang Zan and the other. They must have used some despicable means. The child looked puzzled. Means? The old man nodded. Yes, their means must obey certain rules. Indeed, in a public setting, roaring is inappropriate, hence the restriction on speech. But, I'm asking him for money because he took ours, to demand it back is only right and proper. I've done no wrong. As long as we are in the right, they can't do anything to us. He whispered to his grandson when he heard the young man nearby look over indifferently, his chilling voice immediately rising. Apologize. Want me to apologize? I did no wrong, what is there to apologize for? Hearing this, the old man raised his eyebrows, shouted angrily, but before he could finish, he suddenly felt an overwhelming oppressive force descend from the sky, like a lone man facing a 100-foot giant wave, at any moment ready to be swept away. Terror, panic, a myriad of thoughts flooded him in an instant. Thump. His knees involuntarily bent, his body limp as noodles, no longer able to move. Indeed. Seeing him kneel, Zhang Zan nodded in satisfaction. Yao Chunwen's ability to turn black into white showed that this guy had no backbone to begin with. Now, employing his powerful presence had immediate effects. Just as he was contemplating how heavenly mandate could be used in such a manner, he saw the elder suddenly giving him a seductive look. I'm sorry, I was wrong, I won't dare do it again next time. Quote question mark question mark question mark quote. Zhang Zan's eyelids twitched. Not good, it seems that Fox Charm Destiny was also involved. Just as he was thinking about how to stop the other party, he saw Empyrean Kong looking at him strangely, a hint of confusion in his eyes. What kind of heavenly mandate did you actually practice? An accident, an accident. Zhang Zan flicked his finger. A gust of wind flew quietly straight over, and the elder, who was about to undress, hadn't yet had a chance to perform his next action and immediately passed out. Zhang Zan then wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Yu King Destiny was too powerful, linking Fox Charm, Mo Dao, and Giant Wave Destinies. Using any one of them meant the others would also release their power quietly through connected channels. Consequently, the scene before him occurred. The guy was oppressed by the situation but also affected by the Fox Charm Destiny. It looks like I need to study well in the future on how to use just one type of destiny without causing a similar situation again. Otherwise, even though you intend to display your saintliness, it ends up being an outright social death on the spot. With no one disturbing him, Zhang Zan felt relaxed. After not waiting long, a guard entered again. Ladies and gentlemen, the formation is about to activate, please enter the formation. Ronobes. The people in the room breathed a sigh of relief and strode outside. By then, the old man had woken and lost his previous arrogance. He didn't dare say a word and quietly followed behind everyone. He realized that not only was Yao Chunwen not someone to be offended, but the person in front of him was definitely not to be provoked. The teleportation formation was a circular platform surrounded by 8 stone pillars erected in 8 directions, somewhat similar to the previously seen Heavenly Destiny stone pillars with complex formation marks engraved all over them. At a glance, it was enough to dazzle and confound one's sense of direction. This was not hyperbole. Under the influence of the amulet, one truly lost the sense of direction. It felt like someone who couldn't swim suddenly falling into the water, not to mention directions like southeast or northwest. Even distinguishing up from down, left from right, was confusing and thoughts were chaotic. This is the pressure on the soul exerted by spatial power. Zhang Zan's expression became grave. As a master of one realm, he was very familiar with space and knew that such symptoms indicated a soul stress reaction caused by spatial suppression. Just by entering the teleportation formations, before it even started operating, these feelings emerged. The space destiny seemed not to be simple. I wonder if the library of Heaven's Path can materialize it. With a thought, ignoring the dizziness in his head, he closely examined the formation marks on the stone pillars. Initially static like tadpoles, as time passed, they slowly began to sway and continuously wander. However, unlike earlier learning of Mo Dao and other destinies, the Library of Heaven's Path made no response, as though it was unable to comprehend. Space is divided into 4 directions: up, down, left, and right, formed by countless dimensional sands. Zhang Zan was not anxious but recalled the scene when he created the new world. The new world, the space he had created, was fundamentally connected to this so-called space destiny. If he could locate the connection, perhaps he might readily comprehend it. Suspended realm, the space I created with the strength of the source world, could that be a form of space destiny? A thought popped up, and just as Zhang Zan was about to ponder deeper, a guard in charge of operating the formation approached, distributing a jade token to each person. This is a positioning talisman, one per person, used to determine the position during teleportation to avoid getting lost in space. Zhang Zan took it, holding it in his palm, feeling immediately encompassed by a warm intention that restored his lost sense of direction. Knowing it wasn't the time for contemplation, Zhang Zan looked around. As soon as the distribution of tutelage jade tokens was completed, the formation was activated, with heavenly mandate vitality spurting from the 8 stone pillars, followed by a murky haze enveloping everyone. No wonder a single transport requires 500 destiny plates, Zhang Zan suddenly realized. The consumption of this formation was indeed enormous. Previously, he thought the price was too excessive, but now it seemed not overly extortionate. In the fog, space distorted in waves around them, and everyone seemed to enter a special channel. Zhang Zan couldn't help but be astounded. Is this the channel to the Heaven Mandate domain? The path he took when visiting Zealand Valley felt exactly the same. It seems this teleportation formations are also related to the Heaven Mandate domain, employing the power of space-time destiny to facilitate effortless traversing of territorial distances. Zhang Zan speculated. Though it's called teleportation, in reality, it's leveraging space-time destiny, setting the coordinates, then reappearing at another corresponding set of coordinates. In that case, this is somewhat similar to the positioning in the New World. To retrieve something from the New World to the Source World, positioning is also required. As long as the coordinate points are well positioned, not only can items be taken out, but one can also freely come and go. In that case, if I treat the New World as a fixed Heaven Mandate domain, leaving coordinate points in different places, isn't it possible to traverse distances in the Source World similarly? An idea surged, and Zhang Zan's eyes brightened. He could freely enter and exit the New World, and his appearance in the Source World was controlled by previously set coordinate points. If he could leave more coordinate points, using the New World's transit, could he achieve spatial traversal in the Source World? Let's try it. With a thought, Zhang Zan quietly left a coordinate point not far from the formation. No sooner had he done this than the jade token in his palm felt the pull from the channel, shattered immediately, and the next moment, a blur before his eyes, the fog vanished, and the platform reappeared. Just like the one he had boarded earlier, surrounded by 8 stone pillars, but with different runes and room arrangements, indicating he was no longer in Ziling City. Realizing he had been transported to the far-off central region, Zhang Zan's mind moved, and his intention returned to the New World. His spirit instantly spread throughout the entire world, and soon after, in the depths of phantasm space, he saw the coordinate point he had just left. Back. Locating the coordinate point, Zhang Zan didn't bother with anything else and leapt forward. Whoosh! The next moment, the stone pillars and platform he had just been on reappeared in front of him, exactly as he had conjectured, from the central region back to Ziling City. Today's transportation is done, let's call it a day. No sooner had he landed and steadied himself than the voices around him abruptly fell silent, followed by pair after pair of eyes filled with sheer astonishment. Once the teleportation formation is activated, everyone should instantly depart. How could one person be left behind? All the guards were full of curiosity when they saw the figure in front of them waver once again and suddenly disappear from where they were. Did you guys just see someone? We did, but after the teleportation formation is triggered, how could anyone be left behind? The key formation didn't operate, so how could a person just vanish? We must have seen wrong. I guess so. Blame it on those few girls from yesterday being too impressive. Now everything we see seems to have afterimages. The crowd rubbed their eyes and, finding not a single person around, all believed they had seen wrong and turned to leave. Not only were they puzzled, but Empyrean Kongxi also felt a blur before his eyes. Zhang Zan had lost his trace and just when he was wondering, the other party reappeared before his eyes as if he had never vanished. To outsiders, even if they saw anything, they would think that there was a problem with the teleportation formation and would not believe that he had just shuttled back and forth twice between Ziling City and this place. With this teleportation ability, leaving and returning as I wish, it's much more convenient. After confirming the coordinates could indeed be used for teleportation, Zhang Zan wore a smile on his face. That saves me directly 500 destiny plates. While he was secretly excited on this side, inside the Library of Heaven's Path, a stream of water similarly appeared out of nowhere, its surface covered with tadpole-like patterns swimming about, identical to those he had seen on the stone pillars before. Space Destiny. The moment this stream of water appeared, Flowing Light Heavenly Destiny, Fox Charm Destiny, Giant Wave Destiny, and Modao Destiny all cautiously gathered around it, fawning over it like sycophants. The Space Destiny acted as if it were an emperor entering a rural area. With a gentle shake, the fragments of the heavens, vitality that Zhang Zan had managed to gather within the library of Heaven's Path turned into a stream of energy that flowed into its body. In just a few breaths, it went from the size of a stream to that of a river. At that moment, Yu King Destiny gently wobbled, and a fine thread inserted into the streams of the Space Destiny. The Space Destiny that was swallowing the heavenly mandate vitality immediately wilted and dared not move anymore. Zhang Zan was oblivious to these changes. Having just stabilized himself, he saw several guards approaching. "Gentlemen, welcome to the Wanxiang sect in Tianli City." Following the crowd down from the high platform, Zhang Zan discovered that this place was indeed very different from the previous Ziling city. The origin qi was denser and more substantial, many times more potent than the so-called dominions of blessed land he had known before. Without needing various resources, one could rapidly improve their cultivation just by practicing calmly. Not only that, countless heavenly mandate vitality floated in the air, making it easier for one to comprehend the heavenly fragments and become a true fate master. This meant that here, there was no need to go to Heaven Mandate Hall to find one's suitable power. Worthy of being a city in the central region. The largest empire in the central region is the Tianli Empire, and its capital is Tianli City. Empyrean Kong Shi's voice transmitted over. The central region they had mentioned referred to a geographical area, with Tianli City as its core. Other sects, like the Buddhist sect, Wanxiang sect, and Medical Skill sect, were not far from here, each controlling their own domain. Arha Nobes. Gentlemen, whether it's your first time in Tianli City or not, I will lay out the rules here first. Among the guards, a middle-aged man in his 40s stepped forward, dressed in ash-blue clothes, with a look of indifference drawn across his eyebrows. With just one glance, Zhang Zan became internally vigilant. He was indeed a powerhouse at Galaxy 9 Dan. Looking discreetly around, every guard was at least Galaxy 6 Dan, the stronger ones had surpassed 7 Dan, some even higher. Narrowing his eyes, Zhang Zan suppressed the shock in his heart. His current strength did allow him to slay a Galaxy 9 Dan powerhouse, but it required burning through the resources of a new world, a one-time battle capability. He wouldn't dare to do so if his resources were insufficient. And here, a mere guard was already at Galaxy 6 Dan, and their commanders were even at 9 Dan. It was indeed the most central city of the central region, terrifyingly formidable. It seemed he had to keep a low profile for the time to come. But, fortunately, laying low was precisely what he loved doing the most. There shouldn't be too much trouble. Tianli City, the heart of the entire mainland. If you want to live here for a long time, the first thing you need is an identity token for this place. Without an identity, you can only stay 3 days within a year, otherwise, you will be expelled. The middle-aged man's voice continued to resound. "Sir, do you mean if we don't have an identity, we cannot stay in Tianli City?" Someone inquired. "Correct. Gentlemen, coming here, you must have felt it too. Whether it's origin qi or heavenly mandate vitality, both far exceed other places. Every year, countless people come here and don't want to leave." A proud look appeared on the middle-aged man's face. This led to an increasing and chaotic population in Tianli City. To prevent such a phenomenon, Emperor Fusheng set the rule that any newcomers must obtain an identity token, otherwise, they cannot stay long in the city. If caught, the light punishment would be expulsion, and the severe one would be imprisonment. This is also for everyone's safety, and I hope you can all understand. So, that's how it is. The crowd suddenly realized. Zhang Zan also nodded in agreement. Such a big city indeed required such regulations, or else it would be impossible to maintain if everyone flocked here. Most importantly, once the population increases, unrest could easily arise and ultimately be uncontrollable. How can we obtain identity tokens? An old man in a black robe asked. Hearing this question, everyone's gaze converged forwards, even Zhang Zan couldn't help but look up. Those who came here certainly intended to settle for a long time, Otherwise, they wouldn't have paid such a high price to teleport specifically to this place. There are 3 ways to obtain identity tokens. The middle-aged man seemed to have been responding to such inquiries smoothly, without a moment's hesitation, and he directly stated, first, become a guard or servant for a major family or powerful clan. Once hired successfully, naturally, you can get a long-term residency. However, such people can only move about within the residence they're employed by. To wander into the royal palace, they need to carry a family entrance permit. Everyone shook their heads in response. Those who could immediately come up with 500 destiny plates, who would be willing to become someone else's servant. Second, purchase a residence or abode. Once you have a dwelling, naturally, you will receive an identity token. A residence. May I ask what is the price range for a residence in Tianli City? The same black-robed person asked the question everyone was interested in. The middle-aged man smiled slightly. As the most prosperous place on the mainland, the prices are naturally not cheap. Even the smallest ones require over 5,000 destiny plates. Slightly bigger ones, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands, are quite common. The smallest ones require over 5,000 destiny plates. Zhang Zan was astounded. 5,000 destiny plates could buy more than a dozen luxurious residences in Zui City, but here, they can only afford the smallest. Worthy of Tianli City, these housing prices are far more ruthless than the magic capital of my previous life. Indeed, upon hearing these words, many people present turned a bit pale, especially the elder from earlier, who staggered and almost fainted. Having spent 500 destiny plates to teleport here, they thought they could enjoy a better life, but before they even arrived, someone snatched their storage rings and all their possessions were robbed. Spending their life savings just to stay in Tianli City for 3 days and then be ruthlessly expelled, it all seemed rather sorrowful. Turning his head, he glanced at Zhang Zan not far away, a fierce look flashing in his eyes. If he could only stay for 3 days before leaving, he might as well be dead. Since that's the case, I will not let you have a good time either. What's the third option? Just then, someone else asked. The middle-aged man didn't keep them guessing and said with a light smile, at our Wanxiang sect, you can also acquire a temporary residence permit. Rest assured, in our Wanxiang city, our prices are fair and we do not deceive the old or young, we definitely won't let you suffer a loss. No wonder there was so much explanation, the main goal was this, Zhang Zan suddenly realized. I know you want to ask about the rental price. Seeing the people around him looking at each other, the middle-aged man continued, a single-room residence costs 500 destiny plates per year in rent, and if renting by the day, it's 3 destiny plates per day. Of course, whether it's residences or daily necessities, even finding a partner, you can purchase all from our Wanxiang sect. As long as one's cultivation breaks through to the Life Sea realm, they can even obtain the status of a Tier 3 citizen of the Tianli dynasty, without needing to buy a house, and will have the right to long-term residence. Life Sea realm. If one could break through to that realm, why would they even need to come here? Everyone just laughed bitterly. Those strong enough to reach the Life Sea realm were each a major force to be reckoned with. With such cultivation, coming here or not, had no meaning at all. My lord, what did you mean by Tier 3 citizens? While people were reflecting, a question arose, does that mean people here are also ranked? Of course. The middle-aged man nodded. The citizens of Tianli City are classified into 5 tiers, and those like you with only a temporary status are not even considered citizens. If we really have to rank you, you would only be considered refugees. Citizens of 5 tiers, not even ranked. The crowd was stunned again. Being able to use 500 destiny plates for teleportation, their statuses and identities naturally weren't weak, they were at the very least nobles of the royalty. Now being told that in Tianli City they weren't even ranked as ordinary citizens, not even as subordinates, it all seemed very depressing. Correct. Seemingly wanting to dampen everyone's pride, a hint of arrogance from a former emperor of the capital and a demon city appeared in the eyes of the middle-aged man. Purchasing houses and obtaining permanent status are the only ways to have a chance to acquire the qualifications of a Tier 5 citizen. As for the remaining Tier 4 citizens, contributions to Tianli City are required. The greater the contribution, the higher the tier. And you, what have you done for Tianli City? Nothing at all, so why should you receive any special treatment? Anyo v epsilon s. That's true. Everyone fell silent at the same time. To receive something, one must first see what has been given, or what can be given. Tianli City, being the center of the mainland, is a place everyone yearns for. Without such regulations, it would surely be overcrowded. Empyrean Kong suddenly spoke, how can one make contributions? What kind of actions count as contributions? He usually didn't speak, but every word he said hit the nail on the head. The middle-aged man replied, any action that benefits Tianli City counts as a contribution. Like tavern owners, restaurants, cloth merchants, who pay taxes to Tianli City every year, that counts as a contribution. Some powerful individuals with strong cultivation can also accept missions issued by the dynasty, such as slaying mountain bandits, finding artifacts, saving people, and treating diseases. Completing any of these can also earn contributions. Tier 4 citizens enjoy certain privileges, like a 10% discount on using teleportation formations. Tier 3 citizens can freely enter the inner city without restrictions, and buying goods can enjoy a 20% discount. As for Tier 1 citizens, each one has the potential to receive a royal title, qualify to buy houses in the inner city, hold a revered status, and enjoy a 40% discount on any resource purchase. I heard you mention the inner city before. What is the inner city? Zhang Zan asked. The middle-aged man said, Tianli City is divided into the inner city and the outer city. The inner city is more prosperous, and the origin chi is richer. The headquarters of the Fate Master, Medical Skill Sect, and the Artifact Refining Sect and other second-level Heavenly Destiny headquarters are located there. As for the place we are in now, that's the outer city, where citizens of Tier 3 and below can reside. Oh, Zhang Zan suddenly realized. This Tianli City not only classified people into different levels but even had geographic discrimination. Without a high enough tier, it is impossible to get in. The hierarchies are indeed strict. Alright, I have said everything that needs to be said. Those who want to rent or buy a house, you can follow me now. The middle-aged man waved his hand. Elder. Just then, the grandfather and grandson pair from earlier came forward again. The elder quickly stepping forward looking nervously at the middle-aged man. If we don't have money, can you rent us a place for a while? Even the smallest house, even living in the basement is fine, as long as we can stay. Rest assured, I will definitely find a way to earn money and pay it back. No money. A look of disgust appeared in the middle-aged man's eyes. No money and you come to Tianli City. Get lost. But the elder's lips trembled, then suddenly turned around, pulling his grandson a few steps towards Zhang Zan, and kneeled down on one knee. Esteemed sir, we were wrong, can you give us our money back? We really don't want to be driven back. Oh, drama. The middle-aged man and several guards around him stopped and looked on, their faces revealing curiosity. There were many people teleported here every day, but these people didn't know each other. To see such a conflict upon arrival was rare, and for them, it was quite a spectacle. I told you, I didn't take your money. Ask whoever took it. Zhang Zan frowned. Unexpectedly, after teaching them a lesson, they had not learned their lesson and dared to bother him again. Good people indeed can't last, not only causing trouble but it seemed they were even being unjustly blamed. The truth is, had Yao Chunwen not framed him at that time, and had this guy spoken up to help, he definitely would have returned the money. But now, even giving a single destiny plate would be too much for this master of one realm. Are you sure you won't give it? The elder's expression turned fierce. What, being unreasonable now, planning to rob? Zhang Zan shook his head. You'll regret this. Muttering, the elder stood up, pulling his grandson and quickly knelt before the middle-aged man, eyes full of pleading, please, noble sir, stand up for his poor grandfather and grandson. I'm just the guard captain of the Wanxiang sect, mediate your disputes yourselves, I will not interfere. The middle-aged man took a step back, leaving to one side. Ensuring fairness was a task for idle people, it was none of his business. Sir, please hear my plea before you make a decision. The old man clenched his teeth, pointing at Zhang Zan. I have 2,000 destiny plates with him, and if sir could help me retrieve them, I am willing to contribute all of them to you, and my grandson and I only ask for shelter and simple sustenance so we have time to earn money. 2,000 destiny plates. Eyes lighting up, the middle-aged man revealed a hint of excitement. Is that really true? Even though the prices in Tianli City were high, 2,000 destiny plates were certainly a vast sum for those present. Just relying on a salary, it might take 10 years to earn that much. And now, just by mediating justice, he could get them all. To say he was not tempted would be a lie. As true as I stand here, sir, and if you don't believe me, I can even vow an oath of the heavenly mandate. The old man hurriedly said. The middle-aged man pondered, just about to speak when a nearby guard immediately came over smiling obsequiously. Captain Su, I think this elder must have suffered a great injustice. To obtain justice for him is to uphold fairness and truth. It is doing good. If refused, I fear it would dishearten many. Yes, Captain, we know you don't like to meddle, but this isn't meddling. If such bullying and robbing were to happen at our Wanxiang sect's branch, the sect leaders would certainly be angry. Another guard hurriedly added, what you say makes sense. After a pause, Captain Su looked satisfied at the two subordinates. Such keen discernment, he should foster them well in the future. All right, I'll take on this matter. Captain Su reluctantly nodded his head and looked to the old man to ask, what exactly happened? The elder bowed again, his eyes flashing with a fierce light. In the Ziling City branch of the Wanxiang sect, this man took my 2,000 destiny plates, everyone present can testify. If this is false, I accept the punishment of the heavenly mandate and will never become a fate master in this life. Hearing him truly making an oath of the heavenly mandate, Captain Su turned to look at Zhang Zan. Do you have anything to say? He was being bullied, and I stood up for him. Zhang Zan frowned, clearly displeased, but still detailed the situation. So, these destiny plates were not given to me by him, but were obtained from Yao Chunwen, having nothing to do with him. Our Alpha knows. Unexpected to be such a situation, Captain Su frowned, looking at the kneeling elder with displeasure. Such shamelessness. Someone helped you, and yet you think of harming them, truly without any scruples. Lord Su, regardless of what he says beautifully, my 2,000 destiny plates in his hands are an irrefutable fact. Please, Lord, take action and help me retrieve them. Knowing so many people were watching and unable to refute, the elder insisted the destiny plates were his. Captain Su looked at Zhang Zan. He is right, no matter what, those 2,000 destiny plates are his, and for no reason should they be possessed without justification. Zhang Zan, possessed without justification. Indeed, Captain Su stood with his hands behind his back. Zhang Zan frowned. But, shameless thing, Captain Su says you possess them without justification, so it is without justification. What are you pretending for? The first guard who spoke out shouted loudly. Quickly hand them over, otherwise, don't think about leaving the Wanxiang sect. A second guard also sneered repeatedly. Are you planning to rob forcibly? Asked Zhang Zan. Presumptuous. His eyes narrowing, Captain Su's strength of Galaxy 9 Dan exuded, releasing a strong sense of oppression. I am merely upholding justice, helping this old man and his child retrieve what belongs to them. Hand them over obediently, and I won't pursue this further, otherwise, I don't mind making you understand, even if a mere refugee like you is killed, no one would dare to utter half a word. What if I say no? Zhang Zan frowned. Captain Su flashed a mocking look. Robbing someone else's destiny plates, showing contempt for our guards. Today, our Wanxiang sect will let you understand what rules mean. Saying this, Captain Su waved his hand. Take action now. Yes. Many guards shouted simultaneously, surrounding Zhang Zan in the center. You talk about rules. Zhang Zan was not nervous but shook his head and looked towards a man in the distance. Empyrean Kong Shi. Brother Kong, perhaps, you should explain the rules to him. The heavenly destiny of ceremony is all about following the rules, and this guy talking like this is simply asking for trouble. Those who assist others are not guilty, and those who are innocent should not be punished. Empyrean Kong Shi nodded, his soft voice slowly sounding. As he spoke, Zhang Zan immediately felt currents of heavenly destiny power, descending from the heavens and forming a specific force field around him. However, Captain Su did not notice these, but his face darkened, signaling again. Guilty or not, I have the final say. The subordinates drew their swords and charged at Zhang Zan, but before the swords could fall, they felt as if their strength was bound, their bodies stiffening on the spot, unable to advance an inch. It was as if taking action against the young man in front of them was violating the laws. What have you done? What sort of demon art is this? Feeling their comprehension of the heavenly destiny shaking and on the verge of collapsing under an unknown force, several guards became frightened. A force field. Captain Su also noticed something was amiss and turned to look at Empyrean Kongshi with a wary expression. You, a man of the Magic Gate who dictates rules with a single word. Magic Gate. Empyrean Kongshi was stunned, and even Zhang Zan couldn't help but frown. Could it be that besides the heavenly destiny of ceremony, there's another type of heavenly destiny that can also dictate rules with a single word, making it impossible to resist? Captain, disciples of the National Master have identities and emblems, how could this foreigner have the qualification? He must be using some special protective technique. Shouted a guard. Right, people from the Magic Gate wear white robes, appear otherworldly, with magic patterns embroidered on their chests, and most importantly, even if they use a force field, they must abide by the law. This guy is clearly suspicious. Another person added. Right, we were almost deceived. Kid, I don't care who you guys are, today, this money, whether you want to give or not, must be given. It is decided. Captain Su suddenly realized, a fierce look flashing in his eyes, stepping forward and drawing his sword to slash at the air. With a flash of sword chi, in the blink of an eye, it tore through the phantasm space. Empyrean Kongshi's complexion turned pale as if struck by the sword chi, involuntarily retreating a few steps with a muffled groan. The rules set by the heavenly destiny of ceremony being forcibly broken, he was sure to also suffer a backlash. Given Empyrean Kongshi's rules, pierced by the opponent's sword, knowing there was no room for return, Zhang Zan took a step forward, the cold nether sword materialized in his palm, and with a light flick, multiple strands of sword chi drifted like fine rain. Silky rain sword. The surrounding guards, possessing only around Galaxy 6 Dan in strength, couldn't withstand it, and with just one move, they all flew backwards and crashed to the ground. One by one, their chests displayed hideous wounds, lying on the ground paralyzed. Among his peers, Zhang Zan, without even using the pathos of Heaven's sword technique, was undoubtedly invincible. Seeing this scene, the initially charging guards involuntarily halted, each filled with fear. Even the elderly accuser's expression fluctuated, turning alternately red and white. Originally assuming the young lad was not very capable and would surely admit defeat when facing the guards, he didn't expect such audacity, directly engaging in displaying immense power. So, he does have some abilities, no wonder he dares to be so arrogant. But, kid, choosing to fight back against the Wanxiang sect's capture, you're dead for sure. Eyes narrowing, Captain Su stepped forward. Before arriving, the oppressive might of Galaxy 9 Dan was already assaulting them. With equal power, he was unmistakably stronger than Prince Shen Ling, who had barely recovered to this cultivation realm. His sword descending created a strange curve, the sharp sword chi nearly tearing the soul apart. Feeling a shock through his mind, Zhang Zan couldn't help but step back twice. His soul, already merged into the new world, was intact as long as the new world remained unaffected. Even such a powerful soul assault caught him off guard, causing a slight disadvantage but no damage. Interesting. Seeing that his all-out attack didn't inflict significant damage, Captain Su was also somewhat incredulous, striking again with his sword. Whether from the Wanxiang sect or some other reason, the sword chi was abundant and powerful. Zhang Zan took a deep breath, the resources obtained from Shen Ling exploding partly, transforming into endless power, converging into a potent sword intent, and meeting the attack head-on. Pathos of Heaven's sword technique. Facing a Galaxy 9 Dan exerting full power, there was no chance to hide or hold back. Bang bang bang. The clashing of the swords forced Zhang Zan to retreat, unable to help himself, and Captain Su too had a tough time, his arm going numb seemingly injured by the opponent's sword. NES. Galaxy 6 Dan peak, yet unleashing power not inferior to 9 Dan, seems you have quite a few artifacts, no wonder you dare to be so bold. Astonished, Captain Su's eyes narrowed, but ultimately, a cultivator's strength determines everything. Now let me show you just how terrifying Galaxy 9 Dan can be. With a shout, the long sword stabbed out again. Since an offense had already been committed, there could be no holding back, otherwise, it would only leave trouble. Cold nether sword guarded the vital points, Zhang Zan retreating continuously, and at the same moment, the mind whispered, defect. Buzz tilde tilde. A book appeared inside the library of Heaven's Path, gently opened, countless contents caught his eye. Su Mingchen, Wanxiang Sect's Tianli City Suburban Branch, Guard Captain, cultivation at the Galaxy 9 Dan primary stage, practicing the heavenly destiny of official and standard 4th order sword art. Weaknesses. First, he experienced heartbreak during his youth and does not easily trust others. Second, there are specific defects in his battle techniques which can easily be exploited. Heavenly destiny of official. Zhang Zan was startled. Whether it was the previously mentioned heavenly fate of skill or the current heavenly destiny of official, he had never heard of them before nor knew their level. However, since they could bring a cultivator's cultivation to Galaxy 9 Dan, the level must be quite high. Continuing to read further down, Zhang Zan finally felt a sense of relief. Although the opponent's cultivation of the heavenly destiny was high and the sword art had been refined by countless people, being near flawless, as long as there were battle techniques, there were defects, and these could be seen through by the Library of Heaven's Path. Stepping back continuously 7 or 8 steps to avoid the sharpness of the opponent's sword chi, Zhang Zan found the loophole and pointed his sword. Enveloped by sword chi, Su Mingchen looked bewildered, his emotions being drawn out, as if instantly returning to the year he was 21. Successful in his cultivation, spirited, he had spent a year's salary to buy a gift, planning to confess to the girl he liked. Arriving at her doorstep, before he could enter, he found the girl in the arms of a corpulent middle-aged man, caressed upper and lower, lasciviously taken advantage of. Initially thinking she was being coerced, he realized she showed no unwillingness on her face. Furious, he charged over but was then brutally beaten by the middle-aged man's guards, receiving intense mocking. Even the girl who had been intimately close with him, looked at him with contempt. At that moment, he understood that without capabilities, even the girl he liked looked down on him. Feeling the involuntary moisture on his face, tears flowing down, Su Mingchen's whole body shuddered, breaking free from the depression. What sorcery is this? The seemingly ordinary sword art of the opponent had controlled his emotions, causing him to feel an involuntary sense of loss. If it were not for his profound cultivation, reacting in time to break free, he might have been ensnared already. Captain Su, if I said I know where Meng Yuru is, and could even help you find her. Zhang Zan gave a slight smile. Although the previous exchange had successfully manipulated the opponent's emotions, it was merely a surprise tactic. To truly exert all his strength in combat, with his current strength, he could kill him, but then leaving this place wouldn't be so easy. Therefore, the best method was to try to negotiate, not to escalate the situation further. And Meng Yuru was exactly the girl from his memories at age 21. You, how do you know? Su Mingchen's body stiffened. Having been abandoned by that moonlight beauty, he left his hometown, came here, achieved a breakthrough in his cultivation, and even became the captain of the guards, successful and renowned. Last year, he returned home, hoping to show his successful return, to show her just how poor her judgment was, only to find that the woman had left 10 years ago, never to return. After a long search without finding her, he had given up, but now this guy he just met not only knew but also said he could find her. Forget why I know. Zhang Zan shook his head. You understand the feud I have with this guy, and it's not my fault. How about this? I don't need the 2000 destiny plates I got, and not only that, but I'll also tell you Meng Yuru's location, and all you need to do is deal with him for me. Burning all his resources to kill the opponent would be a huge loss, totally unnecessary. Since that's the case, better to use a spear from his son to attack his shield. This old guy, wasn't he using these 2000 destiny plates to lure this Captain Su into killing himself? Then he would use these benefits in the same way to force him to kill the opponent. Captain Su, don't listen to him. The old man's face instantly turned ashen. This elder, capable of persuading Captain Su to strike at Zhang Zan just for the benefit of these 2000 destiny plates, now finds his supposed advantage vanishing as the other party offers to hand them over voluntarily. Filled with anxiety, he was attempting to continue explaining when a faint voice sounded from not far away. Ungrateful wretches should not be allowed to speak. The surrounding wind seemed to halt, the elder's body stiffened, and he immediately found his mouth sealed by an inexplicable force, rendering him speechless. What do you say? Knowing that it was the mightiest supporter Empyrean Kongshi who had taken action, Zhang Zan smiled faintly and looked towards Captain Su before him, neither servile nor overbearing, From our brief encounter just now, you should have realized that I am not weak. Even if not a match for you, escaping wouldn't be hard. Do we escalate the situation, letting this scoundrel benefit as the middleman, or do we let it go and make me a friend? I hope Captain Su can make the right choice. From the moment the elder began to frame him, he had decided to take out these 2,000 destiny plates. However, had he done so earlier, not only would Captain Su not have taken the deal, but he might have seen it as an opportunity for extortion. Now it was different. Having displayed his formidable strength and value, negotiation should yield compliance. Indeed, hearing this, Su Mingchen frowned slightly and then nodded. All right, it's a deal. Woo, woo, woo. Upon hearing his agreement, the elder cried out frantically, unable to utter a word, when suddenly a flash of sword chi came straight towards his face. Captain Su had made his move. Puchi. A sharp pain in the forehead, the elder's eyes wide open, and to his dying breath, he never imagined he would be killed like this. Had he known, he wouldn't have framed the other. Even if he could only stay in Tianli City for 3 days, at least he would still be alive. Grandfather. The child rushed over, his calling cut short too, his heart pained as Su Mingchen pierced it directly. What, can't bear it? Having cut down the two, wiping his sword, Su Mingchen looked at Zhang Zan, but found his brows slightly furrowed. This old man's crime was unforgivable, but the child, Zhang Zan shook his head. He meant for the other to kill the elder but not to include the child. Eradicate the roots. Having killed his grandfather, couldn't possibly leave him to seek vengeance later, could I? Besides, didn't he partake in framing you too? Su Mingchen sneered. Zhang Zan fell silent. The child had shown no compassion or pity when they framed him, suggesting he was no good person by nature, so perhaps it was better to kill him, avoiding future trouble. Arha and empty set bees. Here, Zhang Zan wasn't a sentimental man and had been bad since childhood. Growing up might not change that. If so, then let death be death. With a flick of his wrist, the previously obtained 2,000 destiny plates fell to the ground. Seeing him actually hand over the items, Su Mingchen picked them up and looked over nervously. You mentioned earlier that you would also tell me where Meng Yuru might be. Of course. Zhang Zan nodded. Lady Meng guessed correctly, she should have arrived in Tianli City. As for the specific location, I'm not sure, but Captain Su might consider looking into the person who was close to her. She likely followed him here, however, I'd advise against seeking her out. If she was able to leave decisively back then, what good would finding her now do? Besides, after so many years, it's normal for her to have married and had children. The Library of Heaven's Path only reveals defects, not where one might have gone, so he naturally wouldn't know without seeing the person. His earlier statement was meant as a shock, to force a halt. Of course, even if the library couldn't provide the answer, he could still make educated guesses. Meng Yuru, who had always despised poverty and sought wealth since childhood, since he could make it to Tianli City, why would she settle for a small place? Indeed, what's the use of finding her now? A look of disappointment flashed in his eyes, and after a moment, Su Mingchen shook his head. You're free to go. Having agreed with the other party and obtained what he wanted, he naturally had no reason to detain them any longer. We'll take our leave. Zhang Zan breathed a sigh of relief, cupped his fists in gratitude, and took steps to leave. He had moved only a few steps when Captain Su's voice continued. Are you sure you don't want to secure your citizenship before departing? Didn't the captain say, to gain citizenship, one must first purchase a residence? 5,000 destiny plates, the price is exceedingly steep. Zhang Zan shook his head. With his current abilities, he could afford to buy, but he did not wish to make such a hasty decision, and moreover, for a mere 2,000 destiny plates, he almost died here. Revealing more wealth, the outcome might not be so certain. Without citizenship, even dining outside is not straightforward, as many tavern owners and restaurants do not serve refugees. Su Mingchen said, actually, becoming a citizen isn't that hard. With your strength and methods, if you're willing to join our guards, issues of identity can be easily resolved. Recognizing his strength, Su Mingchen harbored a desire to recruit him. Join you. Zhang Zan was stunned. Indeed. Su Mingchen nodded. Even though we're just one of the 9 branches of the Wanxiang sect stationed in Tianli City, we possess a certain status and privileges. As a guard, you are automatically granted the status of a Tier 5 citizen. As a captain, you even have the chance to become a Tier 4 citizen. So, if you're willing to join, securing an identity is effortless. Zhang Zan shook his head. I thanked Captain Su for the kind offer, but I have no plans of becoming a guard for the time being. Very well. Su Mingchen said no more. Just as Zhang Zan was about to leave, something occurred to him, and he looked over involuntarily. Captain Su, I'd like to inquire further, since joining the guards grants citizenship, are there other ways to achieve the same? Of course, there are many. Su Mingchen nodded. Regardless of whether you wish to become a citizen, or advance from a Tier 5 to a Tier 4 citizen, you need merit points to aid you, and while these points cannot be bought, they can be earned in numerous ways. For example, by resolving dangers facing Tianli City, capturing long-sought thieves, inventing something beneficial for many, or forging a grade -1 pill that can aid in advancement. Saying this, Captain Su pointed towards a place. Over there is a tombstone with the requirements for citizen promotion and the classifications of merit points. Once you have the points, you can undergo evaluation. Zhang Zan looked in the indicated direction and sure enough, at the end of the hall, he saw a colossal tombstone with hundreds of people crowded around it, densely packed. The tombstone stood over 10 meters tall and more than 30 meters wide, quite massive, with special formations carved onto it, densely covered with lines of text appearing on its surface. Thank you for the information, Captain. Unexpectedly, by handing over the destiny plates, he managed to gain so much information. Zhang Zan was satisfied and nodded, concentrating his eye power. He looked carefully in the direction of the tombstone. Just like what Captain Su said, earning enough merit points is the only way to advance one's citizenship status. Even comprehending advanced heavenly destiny, or being a direct disciple of Buddhist sect or soul division won't help you get anywhere without merit points. It seems that, in Tianli City, merit points are the foundation of everything. The system is fair and impartial, and no one can take advantage of any special privileges. Of course, these are just the official regulations. In reality, merit points may well be traded under the table. As long as you find the right channels and have sufficient wealth, obtaining citizenship is a piece of cake. Thinking of this, Zhang Zan glanced towards the directory for citizens' contribution registration. Tier 5 citizens, 1 contribution value. Tier 4 citizens, 10 contribution values. Tier 3 citizens, 100 contribution values. Tier 2 citizens, 1000 contribution values. Tier -1 citizens, 10,000 contribution values. Each citizenship tier is exactly 10 times the previous tier. Just this alone shows that the difficulty of advancing is indeed not small. Continuing to read further, he quickly found the criteria for earning contribution values. Destroying 100 bandit strongholds, slaying 3 Galaxy 6 Dan leaders, will earn you 1 contribution value. Purchasing a mansion, being the master on the property deed, will earn you 1 contribution value. Contributing 2,000 destiny plates in taxes each year will earn you 1 contribution value next year. Investing over 50,000 destiny plates, with funds in place, will earn you 1 contribution value. The list was exhaustive, comprising countless entries, covering various areas such as economy, education, healthcare, cultivation, culture, and so forth. Zhang Zan couldn't help but be amazed. Not to mention the others, just the first criteria, the destruction of 100 bandit strongholds, slaying 3 Galaxy 6 Dan leaders, is enough to deter countless people. Since they are bandit strongholds and brigands, they must have experienced numerous sieges. Leaving aside whether their hideouts can be found, even if found, a stronghold of over 100 people with at least 3 Galaxy 6 Dan experts, armed with countless celestial treasures and formations, if one doesn't have the might of Galaxy 7 Dan, even 8 Dan, it's impossible to accomplish. Even for someone with his strength, it would not be easy to achieve. It seems that buying a house is indeed the simplest and easiest way to obtain citizenship. Of course, the premise is that you have enough destiny plates. After all, even the smallest houses cost 5,000, not to mention ordinary people, but even large families from the Zhou Yi dynasty, or figures like Elder Bai Yi and Shi Yunjing would find it hard to come up with that amount in one go, let alone others. He quickly finished reading the contents above. Zhang Zan felt somewhat helpless. The tombstone listed hundreds of ways to earn merit points, but each and every one would take a long time to accomplish, not something that can be done overnight. That is to say, making money in Tianli City is certainly much easier than in Zui City, but the challenge is definitely greater. After hesitating for a moment, Zhang Zan looked again at Su Mingchen and bowed with cupped fists. Captain Su, I'd like to ask how to purchase a house, what sizes are available, and their corresponding prices. Is there a more detailed catalog? Right this way. Su Mingchen generously took the lead and walked ahead. Moments later, they arrived at another hall. Pointing ahead, the tombstone over there lists the housing types, specific locations, and prices. If you wish to make a purchase, just select a property and pay with destiny plates. Zhang Zan looked over and indeed saw a tombstone similar in size to the previous one, with types and locations listed. On the outermost layer, equivalent to the sixth ring, a small 100 square meter house would cost about 10,000 destiny plates. For a mansion with a small courtyard suitable for practice, the smallest would be at least 100,000 destiny plates as a starting price. 100,000 destiny plates, that's a billion heavenly mandate chi. Indeed, the prices in Tianli City are terrifying. Notably, this was only in the sixth ring. As locations came closer to the inner city, the prices got even higher. A small house in the inner city of only a few dozen square meters might require hundreds of thousands of destiny plates, and a luxurious mansion could even reach tens of millions of destiny plates, or even more. Having obtained several billion heavenly mandate vitality in Zealand Valley, I thought I was at least something of a rich man, but it now seems that I'm still a pauper compared to the so-called wealthy families. I can't afford it, can't afford it. With a bitter smile, Zhang Zan looked towards Empyrean Kong Shi, only to see him shaking his head as well, clearly taken aback by the prices. Esteemed monk, I wish to purchase a house, do you have any recommendations? Just as both were filled with helplessness, a faint voice came over. Zhang Zan looked up and immediately saw a monk dressed in a kasaya, standing quietly not too far away, calmly looking at the young lady responsible for selling houses. Is this someone from the Buddhist sect? Zhang Zan wondered. This was the first time he had encountered a monk since his transmigration. Yes, the home of the Buddhist sect is Lingzhu Mountain, not far from here. Buddha Shi Jia is a Tier 2 fate controller, with unfathomable cultivation, one of the pinnacle figures on the mainland. Captain Su explained. Zhang Zan nodded and continued to look forward. This monk's cultivation level wasn't much different from his own, only at Galaxy 6 Dan. He wasn't particularly impressive within the Buddhist sect, so it was uncertain what kind of property he could afford. If the master wishes to purchase, here is a 200 square meter residence, which is usually very quiet. The receptionist girl hurriedly introduced a property type. The monk looked for a while, then shook his head. This humble monk seeks a small courtyard, suitable for morning and evening prayers, and I prefer a location closer to the inner city. The place you pointed out just now is a bit too remote. All right, master, let me recommend another for you. The receptionist girl was taken aback, and immediately her eyes shone with excitement. She presumed that the customer didn't have much money and could only buy a smaller property. Now it seemed she had misjudged. The higher the price of the house sold, the higher her commission naturally. Soon, the monk selected a dwelling, a small courtyard with an entrance and an exit, covering about an acre. As for the price, it reached 800,000 destiny plates, which is over 80 billion heavenly mandate vitality. At such a price, not even selling Zhang Zan 10 times over would suffice to afford it. This is good, this humble monk will take it. While Zhang Zan was still reflecting, the monk nodded in satisfaction and handed over a jade token-like card. The card was golden yellow, emitting a dazzling noble aura. It's actually a supreme Wanxiang card. No wonder. Pupils constricted, Captain Su showed a look of realization. Previously, he thought it was somewhat unbelievable for a monk to buy such a lavish property. Now, he understood. Wanxiang card. Zhang Zan looked over in confusion. Yes. Captain Su nodded. This is a card issued by our Wanxiang sect, with many tiers. For ordinary cultivators, getting a level 1 card is quite good. As for the supreme card, I've never even seen one. This level of card, even if it has no money in it, just the card itself allows you to stay for free in a residence with a courtyard for more than half a year. Simply holding a supreme card allows one to temporarily stay in a residence with courtyards free of charge. Zhang Zan was incredulous. Of course. Seeing the doubt in his eyes, Su Mingchen immediately showed displeasure. Our Wanxiang sect is one of the richest forces in the entire source world. The cards, which represent one's identity, are issued in extremely limited quantities, each one is incomparably precious. Especially the Supreme Card, which is something that only subordinate hall masters or elders who have made significant contributions are qualified to receive. Even though I have been a captain here for more than 10 years, I have only seen 3 in total, and every holder has reached the Life Sea realm or above in their cultivation. This monk here, with just his Galaxy 6 Dan strength, being able to produce one, it's obvious without even thinking about it, he comes from an extraordinary background, and even within the entire Buddhist sect, he would be considered top tier. Su Mingchen grew more and more excited, his cheeks flushing with eagerness. Wanxiang sect's Wanxiang card, which can store and trade currency, is usually divided into 3 tiers, namely the so-called grade -1, grade 2, and grade -3. The general public can obtain a grade 3 card. Some mighty nobles and notable figures might obtain a grade -1 card, but that would be the utmost extent. As for the supreme card which the monk brought, the entire source world does not issue more than a handful, and its prestigious status is self-evident. This master, may I verify your card? As expected, Captain Su on this side was shocked. The receptionist girl across from him could not help trembling involuntarily. Amitabha, of course, said the monk, giving a traditional greeting of hands clasped together. Thank you. The girl hurried into an inner room, and moments later, a ruddy-faced elder approached. Holding the card in the palm of his hand, the elder lightly touched it with a finger, and a special force immediately permeated the air. This power spread from the void, creating an oppressive sensation on the soul. Indeed, it is a supreme Wanxiang card. The question is, what is this master's background? Suppressing his excitement, the elder curiously looked over. After inspection, this was confirmed to be a genuine card, but every card issued by Wanxiang sect was documented, and it stood to reason that this monk, who was only Galaxy 6 Dan, did not qualify. This card was one of the items given to me by an ancient method elder of Wanxiang sect after losing a spiritual duel to my mentor, stated the monk with hands pressed together. A duel with an ancient method elder. And he lost. The elder was taken aback, and his pupils involuntarily constricted. The ancient method elder, an individual of Life Sea realm within Wanxiang sect, possessed unfathomably profound cultivation. Such a person losing a duel to his mentor, it revealed how terrifying this person's mentor truly was. Could it be? Hearing all these dialogues, Su Mingchen on the side suddenly remembered something, clenching his fists involuntarily. Could it be, your mentor is the Blue Cloud Venerable of the Buddhist sect? Fueled by the same thought, the elder looked over, exhilaration in his eyes. Indeed. The monk nodded, his face showing a trace of pride. I am a direct disciple under Blue Cloud Venerable, with the Dharma name Miao Nang. So it is Zen Master Miao Nang. Realizing the truth, the elder swiftly bowed deeply. Since you possess a supreme Wanxiang card, the price for this residence can enjoy a discount of 20% off. Master, please come inside. A card that grants a 20% discount. Zhang Zan was astounded. A 20% discount on ordinary items isn't much, but on something worth 800,000, it's a saving of 160,000, which is 1.6 billion units of heavenly mandate vitality. With so many resources at stake, even with his diligent efforts, he hadn't earned that amount since he had been in the source world. This is a supreme Wanxiang card, and moreover, the card of a direct disciple of the Blue Cloud Venerable. Not to mention a 20% discount on purchases. Even if there are other excessive requests, Wanxiang sect would do their best to fulfill them, Su Mingchen remarked with a sigh. Hearing this, something dawned on Zhang Zan, and his eyes flashed with excitement. If I also have a card of a similar tier, could Wanxiang sect provide me with accommodation, and help me arrange a suitable citizenship? Of course. Su Mingchen nodded. However, the prerequisite is that you own a supreme tier card, not a grade -1, grade 2, or grade 3-1. I know. Zhang Zan nodded, flipping his wrist. A jade talisman-like card appeared in his palm. Someone gave me one before, and its tier shouldn't be too low. A supreme tier card, that's something only elders are qualified to receive. To just give it away, it's impossible to reach that tier. Su Mingchen didn't take the card, instead he pursed his lips disapprovingly and shook his head. This guy too, seeing someone else pull out a supreme card, thought his card was of the same level. What was he thinking? The other person's mentor is the sought-after Blue Cloud Venerable of the Buddhist sect. Who are you? Someone who couldn't even clear his name when wronged and had to pay for it, a nobody from some other place, thinking of owning a supreme tier card. How dare he dream? Seeing his expression, Zhang Zan offered his card. Just test it, it won't take much effort, provide whatever treatment it qualifies for. Su Mingchen shook his head, displeasure evident in his eyes. Do you know who that elder just now was? To so casually ask for verification. Who is he? Zhang Zan asked, puzzled. With a snort of laughter, Su Mingchen explained, that was Hall Master Lai Chengyi of our subordinate hall. Someone of his stature, extremely busy. You surely don't think that just by saying you have a card, you could make him verify it. This, not expecting the elder to be so prominent, Zhang Zan hesitated for a moment but still pushed the card forward. Why not take a look? First, last time in Zui City, Master Qian Yuhuan was quite astonished. This card was given to him by Ouyang Hai through the hands of the Moon Dragon sect master in Zui City. Master Qian Yuhuan trembled with shock and waived many of his charges, even donating a substantial amount of origin currency. At that time, he felt that the card was no simple matter. Even if it didn't reach the supreme tier, it should at least be grade -1, right? Zui City. Proud to produce a card from such a trivial place. Su Mingchen scoffed continuously. Zui City was even lesser compared to his own place of birth. What kind of treasures could people from such small towns have seen? A supreme card, this guy really dared to claim as much. Forget it. Regardless, the other had given him 2,000 destiny plates, and his own strength was indeed extraordinary. To refuse even holding his card was obviously improper. With disdain, he took the card, glanced down at it, and then he burst out laughing. Supreme cards are golden in color, and this one you have, the color is clearly incorrect. In his hand, the card displayed a cyan blue color with slate gray cloud patterns on its surface, quite distinct from the golden color he had seen before. How could this guy have the audacity to deem his card equal to another's? I know the color is different, but if I remember correctly, Master Qian mentioned something. It was called the sky blue card. After pondering, Zhang Zan spoke up. The end. Your feedback is appreciated.